Well, I am so happy to have you both back in this space, and you brought a friend.
We did.
Yep.
Tag along.
Honestly, though, I am so glad to have you both back in the studio today to talk about marketing 2.0. We didn't get to everything the last time, but the cool thing is this time we also have a guest from the marketing department joining us. Welcome, Isaac.
Hello.
Good to have you. You are a senior at
Northfield High School.
And you're just feeling out what career path might look like for you, correct?
Yeah.
And of course, Brittany Reiner back in the house, and Biz Bishop. So Biz is our content manager at Visit Wabash County, and Brittany is our creative lead and all things design related and production that comes out of her corner of the world. And Isaac is learning those pieces.
Yes, I am.
And it's been really fun to hear. I hear you three in the marketing suite more than I see you at sometimes. It feels like I hear a lot of laughter coming from next door. But Isaac, for you, before we jump into some of these topics that I do want to hear your input on, what was it like for you to step into learning a marketing role under the leadership of Biz and Brittany?
At first, it was more than what I expected. And it was quite a different environment from what I learned marketing from class.
Oh.
But it's been great so far.
What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned that surprises you in the marketing world at this point? I mean, you're only, a month and a half in to your internship.
I've mostly worked on graphic design, and I like that, but it's a lot more than what I was taught in class.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean a lot more? Just deeper?
Yeah, I was taught from my marketing class, it was mostly communications and connecting with other people, and not so much the design aspect of everything.
One of the first things, and jump in, Biz, Brett, at any time, one of the first things I know we wanted you to have a key understanding of when you joined our team was learning what our brand was.
Yeah.
And then learning how do you apply that in every area of whatever project you're working on. Was that something new to you for the first time too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Biz, you're working on a few key areas of focus with Isaac. What are those?
So we are laying the website foundation and all of the things that goes into, because that's a lot. And then we have tackled a billboard, we being mostly Isaac.
Yeah.
And we do a quarterly printed piece that goes in with bills and gets stuffed, and there's about 1,500 of those that goes out. And Isaac has done that. Those are the big ones. He's done some littler one-off signage stuff, but that's the big stuff that he's tackled in the couple weeks that he's been there. So,
and you're working a lot, Isaac, in the background of WordPress, which is a heavier duty website compared to other click and plug in and personalize like Wix, Weebly. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but the WordPress website is a lot more detailed and integratable, correct?
yes, it is a completely customized, designed, coded website.
So for you to get in the backside of that, Isaac, what was that like to all of a sudden have the keys to the kingdom? Well, were you sweating, Biz, a little
I was
bit?
a little sweaty. I'm a little sweaty anytime somebody's in there.
I've really enjoyed it. It was a lot different from my past internship, but I like it a lot more, actually.
Yeah. And to be in the backside of the website and to know that you have to be very careful where you click. Yep. Do you have your own login that's separate from everybody else's so she can track? Yeah. So that's a way to keep track. And then, Britt, you have just started to work with Isaac on some new projects and some new learning tools. And what's the forecast for Isaac's future goals in the next month or so?
Oh, yeah. He has no idea. Be afraid. No. So we're going to get into Google Analytics. We're going to learn all the techniques and ins and outs of that. And I would say I have learned a lot. I mean, we say this all the time in our office, like technology changes all the time. Marketing changes all the time. And so the way metrics are run and the way information is gathered, like it's important to be aware and to be on the ball of something as important as Google Analytics. I mean, we would tell that to any of our business partners, any organizations. I mean, to know at least the basics of your analytics and Google Click Ads. So, Did I say analytics?
Yeah.
You're doing Google Analytics. I'm doing Google Click Ads.
Yeah, that's okay. They both go together. That's why you two work so closely.
You want me to start over with that?
No, it's perfect. It's a married relationship. It's a happy marriage between you two. I wondered, but I was like, cool, we could talk a little bit about analytics. But yes, Google Click Ads. And then the other part that you're getting ready to work with Isaac on is a software piece that we actually use for producing the podcast.
Yes. And oh gosh, Isaac, poor boy. We went over that yesterday and I was like, I don't know how many steps I gave him. And I tried to keep reminding him like, don't worry, this takes time. This takes practice. Like I still sometimes I'm like, where is this going? Where's this button for this? And there's just a lot of, components to putting on a podcast and producing it and editing it and getting it out there and marketing it. So I would say that and we know podcasts have become a huge, over the past 10, 15 years, a huge avenue for agencies to get their voice out there, the message out there. So I would say to any young marketing professional, like, if you have an opportunity to work with something like this, like do it. Like and it doesn't have to be like your job for the rest of your life, but just getting your feet wet and kind of learning the process, I think will really help in the long run.
Absolutely. And one of the components and that's a great tie into what I wanted to talk a little bit about today, you teaching Isaac software like Opus, which is one of the pieces we use to promote and market the podcast. But that's what's awesome about a tourism office like ours. And we're so grateful to get to share some of this insider knowledge with Isaac as he's looking to pursue whichever career that might be. Of course, we hope it's in the marketing world, but, we hope we get him enticed enough. But when I came to you both and said, okay, we're starting a podcast, that was something none of us knew how to do in complete vulnerability. We had no idea not only the structure of putting together a podcast episode, but then also how do we grow listeners? How do we market it? Where do we post it? How do we list it? How do we get it engaged? And we all went through a significant learning curve to get where we are today. And we're still learning. Would you both agree with that?
Yes.
So how shocked were you when I came and said, oh, hey, guys, by the way.
I was not your biggest fan that day for about an hour. I was like, oh, man.
Because it's just in addition to what you're already both doing, right? Nothing went away. It didn't replace something. It is in addition to a heavy workload.
Now, I was excited when you said it.
You're always excited.
Golden retriever.
Yeah.
Because I've done a little research because I like podcasts. And so I had even looked like nationally, like what other tourism bureaus are doing this. And there's not a whole lot, but it's a really neat thing to do. And so when you said it, I was like, yes, we're doing it. But I'm also like, I don't think about the ramifications.
That's content management brain. That's what they think of.
I don't think
The
about
logistics brain. The creative's like, yay! More scenes. Isaac, would you say that?
More things.
Isaac, would you say that describes their personalities pretty closely? He agrees.
Yes.
He agrees. So we took on this podcast, and one of the reasons why we took it on, one, we wanted the other co-host, Alex and Adam and I, we all agreed that there's so many great people, organizations, businesses, individuals, stakeholders that are doing great things to help make Wabash County thrive today and look toward the future to keep it thriving. The other for Visit Wabash County was we could own this media. So we do billboards and we do Google Click Ads, and that's renting airspace or visual space for a certain amount of time, then it expires. These types of marketing tools like podcasts, if we can keep them as close to evergreen as possible, we own that marketing and can reuse it and regenerate it, much like you do with blogs, Biz, on the website. And so we have now produced probably close to 50 episodes. We're nearing 50 episodes of the ThriveIN podcast. And I have watched the way the marketing department has created its own campaign just around the structure to execute this one piece of the many slices of pie in the work that the marketing team does at Visit Wabash County. And if a listener is considering doing a podcast, now we were lucky. We got to work with Shane Waters. He's an award-winning podcaster, internationally recognized.
Incredible.
Incredible. One of the first crime podcast series producers ever. But he walked alongside of us with such a kind and a servant heart to teach us the ins and the outs. So I know he recommended software for you, Brittany, for the marketing. Biz, he worked with you on how we upload the backside to get the content ready to go and push out. And then we work with amazing Kim, who produces and asks all the questions and cuts out all of our oopsies
Thanks, Kim.
throughout the episode. The podcast itself, where do you think, if anyone is interested in launching a podcast of their own, where do you think they should start? Does anybody have any suggestions on what they think that might need to look like from the starting phase?
I mean, I would suggest and encourage, like, for anyone who's interested to find a podcast they listen to, or like a local podcast person in their community that they can, or some type of podcast that they're interested in, like the topic, and reach out and say, hey, can I get an idea of what your guys' schedule looks like and what your process is? And if it's someone local or close to you, you could even ask to shadow them and come in for a few hours or for a day and like see the process, because it is, unless you have hands-on and you're practicing, it is not an easy process. And you're going to have issues that you'd never know have come up. Shane, thankfully, has been a godsend.
Yes, he has.
Because, I mean, for example, we had problems with our licensing with our music. And we not at first, but it did, and he was a huge help in that. We didn't know what to do. And
Spotify shut us down.
For like almost 6 weeks, I
it
think.
was hard. Yeah. And it was hard. And we were frustrated. And bless him, like, he just, he led us along the way and step by step, and we got it figured out. And so to have those connections already helps so much. The support helps so much. So I would encourage anyone who wants to do this, like, get your feet in the door at some place local, try to shadow, get advice, get some partnerships or some type of collaboration where you're not alone doing it.
Any other thoughts to add to that?
I
Biz?
think my thing would be like probably have 25, 50 episode topics figured out ahead of time, because once you get rolling, sometimes that can be a barrier to, okay, now what am I going to talk about? So having a good plan ahead of time and giving yourself plenty of time to execute some of those things, because we work sometimes 2 and 3 weeks ahead of time just to get everything out on time and make sure that everything's good to go, especially because like this week, Opus has been like down-ish. We've been having issues with it, so it's like I'm glad we didn't wait till the last minute, because it would have been a problem because the software was down and you can't really do anything about it. So
Yeah, and I would say to that, like, do your research when it comes to what kind of software you're going to use to edit and where you're going to be posting your podcast, because thankfully, again, Shane introduced us to Opus. And for those who don't know what Opus is, it's an online software that allows you to upload a video, and you can it'll take automatically like short clips and promos for you. And it does like auto hooks and helps with caption, helps with transition, and it makes your job so much easier and faster. For me, it does. I mean, I'm sure there's other software out there that will do that, but that's the tool we started using, and it's been like a game changer. So I would say make sure that you do your research with software and know what you're going to use before you even, like when you start doing your strategy and everything.
I would agree. My heart for plans, and starting with that plan and those resources before you launch is critical. And it does take a lot of time. I'm so grateful to Alex and Adam. We split hosting episodes. I cannot imagine, and we all have full lives, right? We all have a full daytime gig that we're in, and then also our volunteer roles, and then you add in something like this. Splitting the workload in recording with Adam and Alex has been helpful. However, and it's great. However, every episode comes across our office, and every episode comes through our marketing department and our producers, which we are grateful for, to get those pushed out and ready to listen to in a timely fashion. And that plan allows us to systemize it. So each place that you touch, Brittany, and you touch, Biz, and Isaac, you're learning just keeps progressing, so that once it's out of the host's hands, once it gets through the marketing team, it flows seamlessly. and then comes to the fans. Because I'm going to call them not just listeners.
They are
Yeah,
fans.
they're fans.
They're
Yeah.
super fans.
Yeah.
They're fans.
And can I just say that it is very, very hard to edit yourself when you're doing a video.
Yeah.
Like, and to market yourself, I just prefer to be behind the scenes and not to be like out there. And so, like, when we were actually editing our last episode that we were on, Biz and I just would look at each other.
We're like flipping coins.
what-
Okay,
what-
who's going to edit this one?
Yeah, like, how do we do this and not sound like boastful? Oh my word. And so, yeah, let's do a little like hook right here. You can click on the link on below to the last podcast episode.
And
Shameless plug.
subscribe.
Yeah.
Subscribe. I love it.
Subscribe.
Isaac, you had said to me when we did your first 30-day check-in at your internship, you had said that both Biz and Brett had been great. They're teaching you some of that deeper level marketing.
Yep, and they still are.
Yes. And they're also are consistently reviewing your goals, right? The
Yes.
goals that we have set that we want you to walk away from this internship knowing so you can make a decision maybe what the future for you looks like as a senior. But you had shared with me, you had said, I would love to know the behind the scenes of the podcast and its operation. So you're, even though I'm kind of like guiding some of the combo, you're the driver today. You're in what we call the driver's seat.
Yes, I am.
And in charge of pushing all the buttons and making sure everybody sounds okay. You're just starting to learn the process for producing a podcast. Are you surprised by what you've learned so far? How many steps it takes just to get it to the listener?
Yes, I am. I was not expecting the whole process of it.
What surprises you the most about it?
Probably that we push out to so many different platforms for each individual episode.
Yeah. And making sure that all the transcript, the show notes, the hyperlinks are all in there.
Yep.
And then in addition to pushing out across the streaming platforms, Biz has a whole nother process that she has to do that you're going to learn
Yep.
to get it just on YouTube.
Just for YouTube.
You know, and YouTube is one of the largest streaming devices. I didn't realize that. Learned it through this process, how important YouTube is. So we're going to just segue right into YouTube. And for both of you, and Isaac, jump in anytime if you had feedback or thoughts too on YouTube.
right.
Do the youths of America, do you get on YouTube a lot?
Yes.
For?
Anything. Watch videos, informational on certain stuff. Mm-hmm. I use it at school quite a bit. A lot of our subjects, our teachers will give us links to YouTube videos, and then we'll review those and then write assignments based on that.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
YouTube University. I'm telling you.
Do you do it recreationally? Do you get on? Do you do YouTube recreationally? Like, do you get on there
For entertainment.
Yes, for entertainment.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
and
you?
Also for entertainment.
Okay. And then, Biz, your sister, Abby, she and her husband, they are on YouTube all the
All the
time, right?
time.
Like, that is their television?
Yeah.
And they're constantly for entertainment, for learning, all those
Yeah.
things. And then, Brett, you actually are a YouTube user at home too, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Entertainment for the family and the kids, and then
And educational,
educational.
historical, things like that.
So I'm the generation that you get on the YouTube when you can't figure out how to fix something.
no,
Right? So I don't get
still
on,
do that
I don't get on the YouTube for entertainment. And originally I got there for instruction. I am struggling with couldn't get my Amazon Fire TV remote to connect to my TV, and I only needed a video. But with YouTube, Visit Wabash County has had several videos we've done over the last decade or so promoting Visit Wabash County, and we've done different avenues. We did a video series for about a year, kind of what was coming up in the county as like a forecast. But I've learned that YouTube is not only important for podcasts, people are watching them.
Yep.
So make sure you guys all look good. Yeah, wave at our video watchers. But the shorts. So shorts are, if someone wants to go into detail, Brett, shorts are what? And then how we leverage shorts.
oh, geez, the shorts can be in any format.
Not something you wear to the beach.
No. They're usually a shorter clip of a longer video. And man, And there's this thing that people do now called, it's almost like remixing, like they reuse the original
Waka, waka, waka.
a little bit.
Okay.
Just like that.
And
This is when Alex is like over he's like, stop making sound
I
effects.
really think we need to walk. I think if you're listening, you just need to switch to video. You just
you gotta
switch to
see our
video.
expressions. And people can remix the original clip and they put, hey, here are our top 5 funniest moments in the studio.
Oh.
And they'll like have text overlay and they'll say number 5, blah, blah, blah. And they'll show the clip. And that'll be the next one, which is a good idea, which I've thought about doing
Write
for
that down.
us. Yes, yes.
Can you do that with Opus? Will Opus help you do that?
I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it could. I've not tried that yet, but I'm sure it could.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, again, we've talked about people's attention spans nowadays, and you have a very limited window to get your message and get your voice to the viewer. And so shorts are a way for people to scroll, but it doesn't feel as like, I don't know. I think people view it as more of like a personal connection because with the algorithm and your feed, it's like geared towards you. So you're not just like, I mean, Facebook's good for, Facebook stuff, and we use that a lot, but you do get a lot of ads as well. YouTube is not shorts are not as strong in ads. It can be, but it's not like, I feel like on Facebook, your Facebook feed, it's like every 4 posts, it's an ad.
Yeah.
So I
Annoying.
think the shorts have become a way to actually speak to the younger generation as well.
Do you think Facebook will let you buy a version where that's ad free?
No.
No, they make too much
make
money.
so
Make too
much
much money off
money.
of it.
Yeah, I was just thinking like that just popped into my brain. That happens. So when you think of a short, is there a time frame, a seconds, it's 30 seconds, it's a minute? Like what constitute it being a short?
It's more it being vertical frame than the time.
Vertical.
Because it can be long.
Yeah,
A short can be
portrait.
long, even though
Yeah.
it's called a short.
A short can be a long form video.
Correct.
Even
Yes.
though it's called a short.
Correct.
Yes. I've seen all different types
It's
of
more
lengths.
like a TikTok format of like
Yeah.
the scrolling up and down, but it can be a long video more than it is like
So do you get
literally
on
a
the-
short.
So you get on the TikTok.
Yep.
Excuse me. I don't get on the TikTok.
TikTok.
You get on the YouTube app and you can scroll.
Yeah.
That's why the shorts are so popular, and that's why all of
I mean,
I
I
think
love shorts. I
Yeah.
think they're awesome.
I don't think we have a single short, which we just had one drop with this week, so that one's an exception. But typically a week out, our shorts have more than 1,000 views.
Within 7 days.
Yep, every time. We have a couple that are up to 3,000, 4,000.
In digital marketing, podcasts, shorts, YouTube, that can really sound overwhelming for small businesses or, just starting businesses. I've been in my role for 14 years. I've gotten to this point where I have a team that's able to execute that level, and we've grown to a place where it's time to do those things. But if you're just starting out, we can go clear back to what the number one marketing tool that still exists today, believe it or not, is email marketing. I mean, it is the most effective. The consumer who wants to engage with that email is going to open it, even if you get it every single week. Some are going to unsubscribe. That's okay. Biz, you have built our email audience. There's lots of different softwares out there. Just a little bit about the software that we use at Visit Wabash County and the segmentation of those lists. And I don't know, Isaac, you haven't done anything yet with email marketing, correct?
No, I have not.
Well, we'll just add that to your growth plan. But Biz, and then how we leverage that information, because I know that some of the work Isaac is doing on the website, keeping it up to date on the homepage, feeds into other
Is
avenues.
the building foundation. Yeah. Isaac, you don't know this yet, but you're going to work on the one for March. Or no, the one that we sent in March for April. So we use MailChimp. There's a couple. I know the other one, Constant Contact, is the other like industry standard. Can you think of any other? I
Man,
think
there's a lot.
We'll just go with those two for
Yeah.
the sake of brevity. We use MailChimp, and then we have them segmented into, I don't want to say we just have 3 buckets, but for the simplicity, Visit has 3 buckets. And we have a Stay Connected, which is the general Visit Wabash County. That one has about 5,000 subscribers on it. That's definitely the biggest one. That gets 1 email a month. I like being able to brag the fact if you sign up, you will only get 1 email a month. You'll get it at the
Absolutely.
end of the month for the next month. And then we have the Adventure Series, which is Run the River, Miles and Smiles, Liking for Biking, and Dam to Dam. That one is about 2,500. And that one has, I think, grows the biggest and also shrinks, just depends on the time of year and I think the event, because we have some people that'll come in for Dam to Dam that are just doing it because they want one cycling event in Indiana or they want one run in Indiana, and then they're kind of in and out and they're done. And then that one also only gets one a month. Actually, I think, yeah, all three only get one a month. And then we have the trolley that gets, when stuff goes on sale, that one sometimes is less than one a month because you will just get an email when the tour goes on sale. I do like the trolley one because we take care of our VIPs, which is our previous trolley riders, and they get access to tickets earlier than the public does, because we do have a couple tours every year that will sell out very, very fast. We had one last year that sold out in under 42 minutes to the public. It was 12:42 and it was already sold out.
Jeez.
So,
Do you want to tell everybody what one that was?
Oh, that's the Halloween cocktail one.
So
and it
now
will
you
sell
know
out.
if you want to go on the Halloween cocktail tour this year.
It will sell out
41
again.
minutes.
Get on that list.
Sign up for the VIP list.
So, but back to Isaac helping lay the foundation pieces is the Stay Connected. We go over voted must do and what the events will be for the month. So Isaac
And voted must do for clarity
is our top 10-ish things that are happening around the county that cover
on the website.
that cover anywhere from family activities. We try to get throughout the county, like our smaller communities, and then have like maybe a family friendly thing, maybe a date night thing. So those live on the website, on the homepage, and then that MailChimp will highlight those events that are being picked out, and then the MailChimp will then link to those events so you can get more information. So then we can keep a nice, short, concise email that if you're interested in Legends and Landmarks that's happening, then you can go to the website and get more information on it. But if you're not curious about that, then it's not this super long scroll read that you have to do to get more information on that. And this year we have decided, and I have spent a lot of time analytics and conversations and stuff and looking at what other people are doing, and have really shortened our email by Stay Connected, I would say, by a third, Adventure Series by a half, and then the trolley by a half. So there's just not as much meat and potatoes in that. And because all the information is on the website, it doesn't really need to be duplicated. I just need to get your attention and then let you know, like, hey, here's your personal invitation to this. Here's more information. Go find it. So
I can remember we were in a marketing meeting, which Isaac currently leads while he's with us. We were in a marketing meeting toward the end of last year, and Biz, you had come to me and you said, I think we need to go short form email marketing. Do you care if I pilot a couple of these? Because we have a format that we have standardly used, the way that it looks and the structure and the template, so it stays on brand.
Yep.
And I said, absolutely. And you had found by piloting a short form, driving to where you've already worked so hard to build, which is the website pieces, that people were clicking more and engaging more. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then that led you to the decision for this next calendar year to go with the shorter form email marketing scheme so that it's not such a long scroll on your phone, which sometimes can lead people to unsubscribe. They're like, I don't want to care about any of this stuff. Does that, For those who are interested, remind me, I believe MailChimp is free up to the first 3,000 subscribers.
I think that's correct. I know for sure it's free, but I don't remember what the number is.
At least it used to be. So those who are in retail, and whatever your point of sale system is, Square offers a way to collect email addresses, and Square will upcharge you to also send emails if you want. Or you can collect those and export them into an Excel spreadsheet from your Square, your point of sale account, and upload those into MailChimp. Biz, you do that really well. Anyone who stops in, signs up just at the point of the counter and or on our electronic forms, you're constantly updating MailChimp before the next one goes out, our next email blast goes out. I just encourage listeners, you can't sleep on email marketing. You think that nobody wants email marketing. It is still the most effective, cost-effective email that you can send out to your audience. And don't be offended when people unsubscribe. That's okay. They don't want what you're selling. But that's all right.
Also, then your numbers are better because the people who do want it, you're going to get better clicks.
That's
so it's
right.
like I had to have that pitched to me by a couple people outside of the office that were like in marketing conferences, like, it's not that big of a deal if they unsubscribe. You actually want them to unsubscribe because they're
Right.
not being annoyed every time you open it. They're not ruining your like open and click rates. So it's like I had to get used to the fact that like if somebody unsubscribed, it wasn't a personal thing.
Right.
That I was like, okay, that's fine. Like if you don't want to be here, I don't want to annoy you.
That's
like
right.
that's so, and then that also keeps costs down too, because I really like to brag about this. This is so nerdy. I really like the fact that we have not gone up in audience capacity since I have started, because I have been very, very intentional on getting rid of the unsubscribed or the bounced emails, the duplicates and that kind of stuff. So it's like all of our have grown. All of the numbers have grown. We're getting ready to go up another tier. But I have been very excited to have not had to gone up another pay tier because we've just been really mindful of, do we need all these people? Do we need the second list? And we had a couple of them that were dupes that were like, we really don't need them in 2 places. And you can do a little bit more segmenting inside of MailChimp, inside of your segments. So
Right.
that helps too.
And I like that so that's that fiscal responsibility. You are aware that when we get to that next tier, that price is going to shift and it's going to change. And so you're making sure that whatever we have in the software is accurate and up to date, and after each event, uploading and cleaning it out. That leads me to when we have these MailChimps and we always are highlighting, visit us on Instagram, visit us on Facebook, visit us on LinkedIn. Where else are we? Is that everything? YouTube, yes. We hyperlink back in a footer note, correct? So that you can follow us on there. When you think about our blog stories, that's another thing that's low-hanging fruit that costs nothing. And our website allows for blogs. Are all websites have the capacity to add blogs? Do you know?
I don't know of any that wouldn't.
Okay, most have that. So the listener, a blog is what in a nutshell, Biz?
That's
Like
a
a
loaded
short
question.
like a short
Just like
feature
a
nutshell.
I know.
It's a nutshell.
I don't know if I can come up with a nutshell.
Yeah.
So it's like a short, like a 500 word information deep dive into something. It can be something as silly as here's some things to do for Valentine's Day, which isn't really silly, but it's a silly example.
It's a fun example.
Or like we've used them for if you're coming for Dam to Dam, here's all the things happening that weekend. Like here's some places to stay, here's some places to eat, here's like go to Rowan and go to the Covered Bridge Festival. So we utilize those in a multitude of ways. Isaac has had the privilege of adding our featured stories from our guide to the website. So those are scheduled out, and then some strategic of, okay, when should this go? When should this go? So those are all added. So that's a simple example of we've already written these. We're already using them in one place. We already have the pictures. So let's put them on digital. And then that allows more people to see them with SEO tagging and Google searching and that fun jazz. Because then that stuff all lives on the internet.
And it's searchable. It makes a higher searchability. So one of the things, kind of a path, we'll use that Valentine's Day blog that Isaac wrote. So Isaac, you were tasked with writing a blog, the short feature story for the website. So how did you concept that? And then we'll go from it just being in a Word document to living digitally to being used on socials. This is a great example how you can leverage one executed piece of marketing in a multitude of ways. So go ahead.
Well, first I reviewed other Valentine's Day blogs and other articles like that, and then I researched places to eat, things to do, like certain or special meals that were happening at certain restaurants, and then I just put them into a blog using a prearranged template, pretty much.
And what I noticed with yours, first of all, it being written by Isaac Stakeman makes it personal. So it's your perspective, these high levels. You didn't list all 200 restaurants in Wabash County, but enough of a enticer that lets you know the level of dining experience you could have here. And then I also noticed that in your blog, you hyperlinked. You were diligent about bold-facing the specific locations.
Yes.
Okay, so you write the blog, then what happens to it?
Then I have Biz fact check it and read over it, make sure
Right.
everything is spelled correctly, everything is hyperlinked, all the photos are good, and then
And because you want your photos to match the storytelling you've just written about, right? Okay.
and then I believe I scheduled a date to publish it.
Yeah, you put it in the back of WordPress.
Yep. And then when that date arrived, it went off to the website.
So it pushed it out live.
Yep.
Biz, once it's on the website and it's live, because all the hyperlinks and all the specific word phrases, that one piece written by our amazingly free intern. So Isaac, he writes the blog piece, he uploads it, it's scheduled to post. Then what happens on the SEO side with a blog like that?
So that actually, Isaac did that too, and it's just tags. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
look at you go.
We're turning Isaac into a little SEO
That's right.
certified
You
wizard.
said he was fast. I remember you saying he's so
It's gonna
fast at
happen.
it.
So and that's a hard thing to wrap your head around, some of those tags in the
SEO means
is
what?
search and engine optimization. So it's like what somebody would type into Google to get there. So like the Valentine's Day blog, they might not be typing in like Valentine's Day near me, but they might type in like dinner this weekend near me. And then that could pull up Isaac's Valentine's Day blog and say, here's all the fun, cool places to eat
Yep.
and all of the other things that are happening. So that's the important part about getting some of those things digital is now all of that stuff can be searched. And then that gets our website up higher on those Google searches.
And we always say from our last episode, if you...
Feed Google, Google feeds you.
That's right. So then now it's been created, it's been birthed out into the digital world.
Yeah.
And then how did we take that blog that started as a Word document and get it out there and use it for social media marketing?
Basically, you can do it different ways. It just depends on, what platform you have. A blog is always going to work better on Facebook or LinkedIn, anything that's more engaging and clickable. We know that Instagram, there is not as much engagement on Instagram. People just like to scroll. They don't really click on things. So what you could do, a couple examples, is if you could post it as a story, like, hey, this is what's happening this weekend, because a story is current, it's fast moving. Or you could post it as like a reel with multiple pictures of like Isaac at a restaurant, Isaac doing this activity, and do it that as like a fast moving slideshow almost. So there's different ways to do it. It depends on, if you could connect a picture, you could put like click. Have you guys seen that on Reels or on stories? Like, even though the picture is not clickable, like you can still put click below, and you can put in the first comment the link to the blog.
Yes,
there's all these different ways.
You do things like that. Yes.
There's all these different tricks of the trade, and I'm still like learning a lot of them. Yeah, some people it's like second nature, and me being now like post-aging, I'm still like trying to learn them.
But even at the simplest form, yes, you and Biz are both very good. I'm so grateful, and on behalf of all of Visit Wabash County, I'm so grateful the way you both approach your work. And it's not just the check the box, I've posted on social, check the box, all the links are working on our website. It's actively thinking, how do we get the most out of this? And so for Isaac's very first blog, to turning it onto the website, to getting it onto socials and thinking through that conscious effort is what drives traffic, right? That conscious effort is what makes us see a return on our investment of time. It's not a waste just to say, well, we did it and thing happened, sorry. It's just the way Facebook algorithms are. No, there's some truth.
I think it's silly to to only use something once. Like, why would you not? It's art. Like, we used Isaac's time. He wrote it. He found the pictures. Like, because that doesn't happen in 5 minutes. That's not a 5-minute thing.
No.
I've written a lot of blogs, and it does not happen that fast.
Right.
So why would we not use his 2.5 hours of time as much as we possibly can? And we're not going to post it 10 times. Like, that's silly.
Sure.
But also, it's like, it feels like low-hanging fruit for Brittany to not post it. Like,
right.
Because it's been done, it's a weekend worth of information.
That's right.
Like, and granted, now it's not super relevant. You can still shop those places, but the food places aren't. Like, the food places are still there.
Right.
The dining specials just aren't there. But it just feels like low-hanging fruit to not use things as many times as you can.
Absolutely. And going back to the consistency of always referencing our website as that foundation where all information must be up to date and kept. And I believe, Isaac, one of your daily tasks as you come into the office is to check any event submissions to our website to make sure that they're ready to go and that they meet all of our criteria before they're pushed forward facing to the audience. we're getting kind of close to our time already. We do this each time we sit in the studio because there's so much to cover. I do want to touch a little bit on print.
Okay.
Print is not dead. It's still, there's a cost to it. So a lot of people have moved to digital. We leverage print. Some of it is just the way that we standardly market some of our events. So I want to touch a little bit about rack cards. And then I want to also touch a little bit about looking for the free real estate that we love to stick our signs and materials on. Okay. So because we are always looking like, oh, you got some table space there. Will you put some of our table tents out?
Yes.
But then there's a responsibility to managing that, right? So if you see our table tents out in the 950 Speakeasy or 50 East or one of the restaurants in North Manchester or anywhere that you see, then we're responsible for either getting them and cleaning them up. Like we don't dump them on our partners.
Yeah.
So let's talk real quick. Print is not dead either. We know email marketing is not dead. Print is not dead. So a little bit about how Visit uses some high-level print pieces and then that looking for open real estate where we can put our stuff.
Yeah. I would say a goal or like a tactic is like on our trolley, we have however many people are on there at the time. 34. Hopefully there's 34.
Yeah.
Sold out tour. We have them in our graphs for like 3 hours.
That's right.
Like they are in our control.
Right.
And so
they can't escape.
They know if they want to get back to town, they're going to have to stay with us. So it's like the perfect opportunity to get our message to them even more. So rack cards, if you've not heard of them, or maybe you've probably seen them, but are like a little third of a brochure and front and back, and it's just a really quick piece for people like while they're on the trolley to grab out of the rack that we have on there, and hence rack card, and they can look at it while they're riding along and enjoying. They can read a little bit about the trolley rentals process and what's coming up for the year on the trolley tour. So we just try to leverage what we can when we have any type of our community or our audience with us. And rack cards have been extremely well received, and we're always updating them. I mean, people take them all the time because it's just a little bit of information, but it's powerful.
Right.
And then it links them, shocker, to the website.
Yes. we always put if it's applicable, like we usually put a QR code or some type of link to.
And we didn't even get to QR codes. I want to talk about those.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole can of worms.
That's a whole new one. So the rack cards, what I also like about the rack cards too, they are considered somewhat of a disposable piece. I mean, they're not probably keeping it, or they could hang it on their fridge. I mean, it's good enough quality to hang it up on the fridge, but we do have the ability to keep that updated as frequently as we need to because of the size that it is. Right?
Sure. Yes.
And then some other again, we could talk about print probably for an hour. We are often looking for open real estate. Like at one time before J.M. Reynolds Oil redid their gas pumps, we used to have marketing for the trolley on the bottom half of their gas pumps. Like one time, either myself or Jennifer, we were there getting fuel, and we're like, hey, what are you doing at the bottom of this gas pump? It looks like and until they updated their whole island, we were able to put our information there. So we are constantly looking for places to put our info. We've got a lot of static displays. Talk a little bit about the importance of still doing some print pieces in that communication that we do have countywide.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if it's cost-free, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And if it's the same type of material or the same piece, you're just multiplying it in different areas, do it. I think what I love about this goal and this tactic that we use is that we have collaboration and partnership with other restaurants and organizations and businesses. No one's an island, we're all working together to promote the message of Wabash County and what we do and what's going on. And so what's been so encouraging for me is like Modocs will put our table tents out for us at no charge, because we have a relationship with them, and it's just encouraging to see. And I don't know, it's so awesome when, even though our organization's different than a coffee shop or like a restaurant like the Speakeasy, like we're all in it for the greater good.
That's right.
There's no right or wrong and there's no winner or loser. It's for the greater good.
That's right. That's exactly right. I couldn't agree with that more, because if we didn't have the partnerships and the relationships throughout the county, we wouldn't have these static displays that you see. We have, and putting out our table tents and setting out our rack cards.
Like the parks, like in the county, they allow us to have displays at their parks. And I mean, with no charge.
Right.
It's amazing. And yeah, so it's a display with all of our information for the tours for the year and our adventure series and about the Welcome Center. And yeah, we could change them every single month if we wanted to, but because like it's so, there's some people who've probably come to those parks that have never even heard of Wabash County. So they get to see what we do all year round, and not just like every quarter, every month. So I think.
And you guys, you're real intentional to make sure that they're seasonal enough, and then here's scan for more, or here's our website. Right. Like if you want to know more about this
I think it's always important to have a current call to action, which a CTA, which marketing people would know that term, but to have like the QR code or a link, you got to have some type of follow up. Pictures are so pretty and they're so nice. And I struggle between the two, like how much content should you have? How much imagery should you have? And the balance is always important, but also for the piece that you need. Like we just had this discussion, Christine, about like static displays and really what's the use of them? Like, because is it for people in the community? Is it for outside people coming to visit? So as a business organization, you have to decide what is right for you. Like there's no right or wrong. You have to decide what's right for you when it comes to your marketing material and your strategy. Because like you've been doing this for a while. Like I've been doing it for a few years. Biz has been doing it for a few years. And we've kind of have come up with this equation that works for us. Right. And it's not that we're like in this box, and we do tend to, like doing a podcast, tend to go outside the box sometimes. But as a business and organization, I know that can be scary, but like there's always pros and cons to something. And I would just encourage anybody who's trying to market their business, like step outside of their box a little bit and try something new that you haven't done.
Yeah. I would, even with, like you talk about the partnerships with MODOCs and that, we aren't a coffee house and yet the coffee house is putting our information out to share. We have a small static display that Isaac just updated this morning with some information for those who are just pedestrian traffic walking by. Those partnerships are really, really important, and building relationship, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's outside of your brick and mortar store. Just a quick recap of all the things we've already covered. And for those who are listening, like quick action items, if you don't want to do high level podcasts, do shorts, right? You can do that on your smartphone. You don't have to have a big fancy digital camera anymore. Anyone using an Apple phone, there's a new app called Edits. Even I'm capable of using the Edits app. Consider the YouTube channel, even if you're just starting it, right? Even if it's just a couple of shorts or because the short you can use for a reel, correct, on your socials. Don't forget about email marketing. Email marketing is still impactful. If you have something to share that's important or big news, your special sale for the summer, you're getting in your Christmas items. If you have questions, ask us. We will connect anyone listening to this at all to what resources that are working for us, right? We don't have all the answers.
Or not working for us.
Right. But we know what we've measured that works for us, and we're doing the best we can with it. So we're happy to share. We are not gatekeepers at all with information. So email marketing is still worth your time. Make sure your website foundation that's the home. That is where everything needs to be organized and I know it's SEO'd, tagged, because that's leading to greater traffic. And then print. Print is still an effective way to communicate and offers the opportunity for partnerships. So I think we might have to do episode 3 because I still didn't get to the part where Isaac is working on that Travel Indiana article that's going to upsell what we're doing, that we'll take that article, we'll upload it on our website. We didn't get a chance to talk about what we did with our neighbor's windows when he was renovating. Kyle Williams, he let us do some really cool displays. So how we use print in that area, just in an innovative way.
And the guide.
Oh my gosh!
The guide.
Talk about missing out on print. But,
and Trolley Gazette.
Oh, my gosh.
And Trolley Times going in bills for people with partnerships.
This is literally could be a whole nother hour.
And March cleanup.
So what we're saying is before the end of this year, we'll have marketing 3.0.
Oh, my goodness.
And I mean this when I say this. I have watched you, Biz, and you, Brittany, fold Isaac in with the expectation not to coddle him. You have set the bar for him to reach for and learn. And Isaac, you have done a really great job of working hard to learn and develop under their leadership to figure out if you like this world of marketing. And if you do, the world of marketing is great, big, and huge, from marketing a podcast to digital side to the print, the design. So we're hoping you get enough flavor in that.
It's not easy being in an office with 5 ladies.
Oh.
And this guy is at a high school.
He takes it. Yeah.
Somebody came in, Steph came in yesterday and talking to Biz and me, and she said something. She's like, "Oh, Isaac's here." He was here. We're like, "Oh." So,
but I mean,
he's a good sport.
A good sport, and you have the right heart. You want to learn, and you want to make the decisions that are best for whatever your future looks like. So thank you for the effort you put in to Visit Wabash County. This is a really great podcast, and this is a really great example of, I think it's a great podcast if I do say so myself. But this podcast is a really great example of not only the way we pour into each other, but the way that this community pours into us. And so I'm going to cue up Isaac, our temporary fill-in intern co-host.
This podcast is made possible by the generous support from the Gilman Investment Fund, the Sandra Kunkel Trust, Mark and Amy Ford, Paperworks Industries, the City of Wabash, the Community Foundation of Wabash County, and Visit Wabash County. Until next time, I'm your guest host, Isaac Stickman, and this is ThriveIN Wabash County.